Hello and welcome to this special edition of Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am your host, Murna Barnabas Atiai. Happy International Women's Day. Corruption typically has a disproportionate impact on marginalized populations, and women are no exception. Evidence shows that women perceive and experience corruption differently due to the nature of women as life givers, caregivers, and nurturers. March 8th, therefore, is set aside to uphold women's achievements and recognize challenges they face in political, economic, and socio-cultural spaces. The day also marks a call to action for embracing fairness to women. The 2023 theme is tagged #EmbraceEquity and seeks to forge a world where differences are valued and celebrated, a world that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive. On this special edition, we shall highlight the importance of celebrating the International Women's Day and the anti-corruption dimension to the day. In the meantime, Ruth Awodi is standing by with details of anti-corruption stories. Over to you, Ruth.
Welcome to this segment on anti-corruption stories. I am Ruth Awodi. As part of its efforts to curb vote buying during the 2023 general elections in Nigeria, ICPC made about 10 arrests related to vote buying. A day to the elections, the Bauchi State Office of the Commission took into custody one Hassan Ahmad for being in possession of the sum of 2 million naira cash in both old 200 naira and new currencies amidst the cash crunch being witnessed in the country. The suspect was arrested by troops of 33 Artillery Brigade Operation Safe Conduct deployed to Alheri in Bauchi State and handed over to the Bauchi State Office of the Anti-Graft Agency. Ahmad was in possession of 900,000 naira cash in new naira notes and 1.1 million naira in old 200 naira notes, and the funds were being conveyed in a tinted black Hilux vehicle. The suspect confessed that the funds were being moved to Gombe State for a politician. In a related development, ICPC officers arrested 9 persons for vote buying on the day of the election in Osun, Ondo, Borno, Bauchi, Akwa Ibom, and Sokoto states during the presidential and National Assembly elections. The 4 vote buyers arrested in Osun State were Adewale Teslim, 32 years, Yemi Adebiyi, 42 years, Shake Idris, 36 years, and Emiola Joseph Oluwole, 69 years. The suspects were found with documents containing lists of names, phone numbers, and account details of voters during the election in the state. Operatives of the commission retrieved a list of names and phone numbers of voters from Adewale Teslim at polling unit 7, Ward 7, Ile Agano, in Olorunda local government area of Osun State. The Ondo State Office of ICPC arrested one Mrs. Idowu Yemi Omolere at Hala Orilu, Idonre local government in connection with the distribution of recharge cards to voters. The ICPC personnel recovered 24 pieces of 500 naira recharge cards, a list of voters and their phone numbers, as well as a technophone. The Akwa Ibom State Office of ICPC arrested a woman, Mrs. Idara Umoren, for collating the names and account details of voters suspected to have voted for a preferred candidate. Umoren was arrested at the Signature Hotel polling unit on plot 48G line, Ewet Housing Estate, Akwa Ibom. Meanwhile, the chairman of ICPC, Professor Bolaji Owasanye, SAN OFR, has commended the officers of ICPC's state offices and the headquarters for diligently monitoring the presidential and National Assembly elections across the Federation, thereby curtailing vote buying by some representatives of political parties. He directed the state offices to carry out a detailed investigation of all those arrested for acts of corruption during the election. That will be all on this segment. Happy International Women's Day.
If you're just tuning in, this is Corruption Must Go, and this is a special edition to mark the 2023 International Women's Day. The theme for the year, #EmbraceEquity, speaks to having an environment that is equally conducive for all women with equal access to political and socio-economic advantages. However, corruption erodes the ability of nations and governments to achieve this goal, and the effect of corruption impacts on women disproportionately. ICPC over the years has continued to ensure a conducive environment by providing equity in the workplace by introducing some policies and initiatives. Mrs. Azuka Ogugwa, who is the Commission's spokesperson, talks to us on this.
What ICPC is doing, I will only speak to two major things that we are doing. The first is ICPC drafted, in collaboration with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the National Orientation Agency, the National Ethics and Integrity Policy. This is a policy of government that has 7 core values that every Nigerian will key into these values. We will have equity. The core values include human dignity, which speaks to the fact that every human being is made in the image of God, and so they carry an inherent worth in themselves. They are valuable because they are a human being. They are human beings. So we should recognize the dignity of that humanity in them and respect it. There is also voice and participation, which says every human being, be they male or female, should have their voice. We're in election season, everybody should be able to vote without being oppressed, without being put behind and say, no, you're a woman, your voice doesn't count. Every woman, every Nigerian should be patriotic. That's one of the values. Every Nigerian should have integrity. Every Nigerian should take personal responsibility for their action. Now, these are values that ensure equity. They ensure that there is a level playing field for everybody. That is one of the ways that the Commission is trying to bring about equity in the workplace. So in a workplace, for instance, a boss should ensure that he does not maltreat the workers, treats everybody fairly, not partial because of one's gender, and make them feel safe, make them feel welcome. That a woman has to take maternity leave, you have to recognize that and appreciate it. That she has to take care of the children, we recognize that and appreciate it. Another major way ICPC is trying to enforce equity in the workplace and also in Nigeria in general is by, first of all, in ICPC here, we drafted this and institutionalized the sexual harassment policy. This is a policy that protects women and every other person, not just women, everybody, but women are usually the subject of sexual harassment. So we made sure that we provided a platform that women can have redress. If you are harassed, you can report and you can get counseling. That is part of the policy. But beyond just ICPC, in our schools, we are working with civil society organizations, specifically Gender Mobile Initiative, to ensure that secondary schools and tertiary institutions have a template for sexual harassment policies. So each school is now under an obligation to have a sexual harassment policy, which provides for the right of everybody to feel safe and comfortable without harassment in the working place. This is to provide equity. I shouldn't come to the office and be afraid that somebody will intimidate me because I'm a woman or speak to me carelessly, I should be confident in my working place. I shouldn't fear that my promotion will be delayed because I'm a woman. I shouldn't fear that I will not get all the benefits others are getting because I'm a woman. That is what equity is all about. Sexual harassment policy helps to enforce this in workplaces, not just in ICPC as a commission, but in all offices of the Federation. My message is that all Nigerian women should embrace equity. Not just for ourselves, embrace it for the girl child, embrace it for the girls living with us, for the other women, for the female workers in our household, or for other people that we have to work with. We should embrace equity and insist on equity. That is my message for Nigerian women. Congratulations. Happy International Women's Day, Nigerian women.
It may seem that women have progressed very far despite some of the prevailing issues and biases. However, understanding corruption linkages to gender equality issues and how it impacts women's empowerment is part of the broader process and also an effective strategy to combat corruption. Our Corruption Must Go crew spoke to Professor Mrs. Patricia Ogochukwu Ojia of the University of Abuja, who speaks on embracing equity on socio-political and economic advantages for development of women. Take a listen.
The significance of this day can never be overemphasized because women are special. We are special. A lot of women have made their mark globally, and so many are also still striving to get to where others have attained. And so a day such as this is not just to recognize those who have achieved a lot, but also to encourage others who wish to, reach their potentials, but have one challenge or the other. So a day such as this is to get in touch with women who have made marks in history, politically, economically, and otherwise, and this invariably will encourage others to also excel. Development of women in general, hasn't reached the mark we all expect it to, especially when you're talking about women in rural areas. Women in urban areas, yes, are doing quite well, but a lot of women in rural areas have several challenges in terms of inequality, in laws, labor laws. So many of them can't get loans. So economically they are hindered, and so development is hindered. Some of them could have challenges with their health and cannot get Medicare readily. So you find out that where women are given some fairness in terms of law, if there is equity, it will go a long way in helping women develop generally. In some areas, you find out that if a woman wants to rent a house, for instance, she'll be asked to get a man, as a guarantor before she's allowed to rent a house. And in so many other areas too, you find that there's no equality. Sometimes even for jobs, there are certain jobs that are exclusively for men, but women still strive to get there. So I feel when there is fairness, it will go a long way to help women develop. Yes, a lot of women now are highly endowed in such a way that they multitask. Many people say, yes, women are naturally born to multitask, but some have to learn it. That's why you have women who are mothers, and in addition, they are sisters, they are wives, they are doctors, lawyers, everything. They combine everything and they successfully do that. So, but if there are laws hindering them from success, you find out that development will be so slow. So I feel that there should be some equity, fairness in all spheres to help women in development. So I would like to say to women, forge ahead. In spite of challenges, you can still make it. Others have done it in the past and you can do it. It is determination. Once you are determined and you strive to achieve, you would achieve. In spite of challenges, several women have fought even in the political area, economic area, and they have excelled. So my advice is never give up. Even when you fall, stand up, rise up, and forge ahead. Congratulations to all women out there. Remain happy, be there for each other, and then we shall succeed. Together we shall succeed.
In one survey conducted by the United Nations Development Programme, 76% of women responded that corruption had prevented them access to public goods and services. Today, in spite of these recorded facts of how corruption affects women negatively, women's participation in the fight against corruption has been low. Looking at the theme of this year's celebration, #EmbraceEquity, our Corruption Must Go crew spoke to some women on their view of how equity can help institutionalize integrity in Nigeria.
Equity is important because it gives the woman a sense of belonging. I'm speaking specifically, since it's Women's Day, about the woman. When you give the woman that sense of belonging, you incorporate her into whatever decisions you're taking or whatever you're doing. You make her have that sense of belonging. And in so doing, she would help you fight whatever crime or whatever evil, particularly as it relates to corruption. And being the one that nurtures, particularly the family, with reference to the children, she wouldn't want to see, no woman would want to have a bad child grow up. So she would want to instill those values, those morals, those good behavior in a child. And in so doing, she wouldn't want to stand anything corrupt around her. She would not accommodate it. So giving that woman the sense of belonging, making her your equal, I mean, it's relative depending on how you interpret equality. But in this regard, not because she would rub shoulders with the man. No, the man has his place, the woman have her place. But giving her that sense of belonging would help her fight alongside the man to stamp out corruption. It's our day, and the message I have for the woman, you can see I'm embracing myself. First, I would say, love yourself, care for yourself, value yourself, see yourself as important, not with a sense of pride or arrogance, but knowing who you are, that you matter in the scheme of things.
I believe in equity, which is fairness in all aspects. In terms of employment, if 100 people are being employed, equity should come to play in terms of the employment aspect, whereby women are being given the opportunity to also contribute their own quota to the society. Because as a woman, you are expected to also give, your own quota to the society in your home, in the community where you live, and also your workplace. So fairness to both gender is very important. My message to Nigerian women is to support one another. Happy International Women's Day to all Nigerian women. Love you.
When you have equal participation from both genders in an environment or in a society, the result is going to be like much more than when another gender or it's having barrier or it is limited to relegated to a certain side. So it's going to be like a workforce coming together. Okay, the women are having enough voice enough participation, full participation in the society, in the fight against corruption and other aspects of the society. Okay, my message is simple, that the future depends on women. We should all come out in full force and have full participation in our society. Give your all, no matter where you find yourself, no matter whether you are a working woman or you are a homemaker, just do your best in that aspect and let your voice be heard. Embrace equity and happy International Women's Day to all Nigerians.
Equity means fairness in every situation. By being fair in every situation, it means that we are able to do the right thing in all honesty, irrespective of whatever the situation is, even when no one is watching. So being equitable will go a long way in helping us build integrity in our nation. On this very special day, I would like to congratulate all women out there and celebrate them, especially those who are making great exploits in the application of tech in whatever they do. I would also like to encourage us to not give up, to keep striving hard to ensure women inclusion, most especially in tech and in all that we do. Thank you.
As women in Nigeria join their colleagues in the world to celebrate this year's International Women's Day, there is hope that the struggle for equality and equity will be won with the collective effort of all who care about human rights. Equity will lead to greater participation of women in public life, which in turn can help in the design of gender approaches to anti-corruption and help prevent corruption experienced by women in the first place, as well as empower them to resist, report, and seek redress when it occurs. Make International Women's Day your day and do what you can to truly make a positive difference for women by #EmbraceEquity. That's our package for this week's edition. Watch Corruption Must Go every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. on the network service of NTA. You can follow us on our social media handles showing on your screen and call us on our toll-free number showing also on your screen. Happy International Women's Day.